The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Boardman, Oregon, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 34038. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting just under the front bumper, you'll find driving fog lights. Moving up onto the face of the front bumper, you'll find dual air horns on the passenger and driver's side. Moving toward the center, you'll find your unit identifier, 825. Located in the center, you'll find your siren. Moving up onto the bumper extension, you'll find your bumper turret. Just inside of that location in the center, you'll find a tubbed storage location for your front bumper load. And moving just over to the side, you'll find a swivel 1.5" discharge and control level valve. Moving on to the side of the bumper extension, you'll find emergency warning light and also auto eject for your heater. Moving up onto the body, you'll find an auto eject. This is your shore power. You'll also find just above that shore power a battery status indicator. Moving up onto the body itself, you'll find turn indicators and headlight structure housing low and high beam. High beam headlights are on the inside. Moving up from that location, you'll find a cluster of emergency warning lights. Directly behind the Pierce logo is where you'll find the latch to release the hood. Located on the side, you'll find mirrors housing a flat mirror and convex mirror. Moving up onto the brow, you'll find your 5 clearance lights. Just above that, you'll find a forward-facing brow floodlight. And then up onto the top of the roof, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Let's take a couple close-ups of the items that we talked about, but first let's take a look at the side where you'll find your latches for gaining entry. They are keyed latches, and also you have entry points. On each point of entry, you'll find grab handles. Moving now underneath the bumper area is where you can take a look. You'll find those driving fog lights. You'll also find your bumper turret location, tubbed storage location, and then also on the side you'll find your 1.5" swivel discharge. This is foam and water capable. Let's move from this location up to the front bumper. You'll find your headlight structure and turn indicator and emergency warning lights. Directly behind the Pierce logo is where you'll find that latch allowing you to gain access into the hood. Under the hood you'll find your fill location on the passenger side for your windshield wiper fluid. On the driver's side, you'll find your power steering fluid location fill and sight gauge. And then you'll also find instructions on how to raise and lower the cab. There are some safety mechanisms within this area. First on the right, the red is the indicator for raise or lower, and the yellow push button allows you to gain distance so you can visually look around the cab while raising the cab. Overhead, emergency lights and also brow light. On the side of the bumper extension, a side-facing emergency warning light. The red is the engine block heater. It is an auto eject plug. As we move up, you'll find your shoreline power and then also your auto charge. When plugged into shoreline, this will activate. Here's some close-ups of the engine heater. It's a 20 amp auto eject. Moving up to the top of the vehicle, we couldn't see it from the front, but this is a go light. This is a controlled spotlight. You'll also find on the side a side-facing LED water tank level indicator along with a side-facing scene light. Here's some information on your department. As we move just to the rear of the driver's seat, you'll find an additional compartment. Now moving to the pump cutout. First, let's start with two 2.5" discharges located on this side. Because of those discharges, we're going to find this warning label that caps may be under pressure. Be cautious. This is a pressure warning hazard. You'll also find the Pierce logo, American flag eagle. That is your large diameter pump intake. We also have a warning label in this area indicating fall and do not ride on the side of the apparatus while in motion.
To the right, you'll find foam fill operations and a warning label here regarding the possibility of foam hazard. Do not mix different brands or consistencies. Across the bottom, you're going to find all of your discharge drains. Let's go back up to the top with some close-ups for your air supply and air inlet-outlet. That's a twist, not a pull. To the right, once again, this is that warning label regarding foam failure, not to mix different brands or consistencies. And then this is your foam draft tank lever. Just down from that is where you'll attach for your foam inlet. Let's move from this location down just a little bit where we'll find your winch outlet. This is for your shower. And then you'll find all of your associated and color-coded drains. There are pull lift latches and also twist. As we move just above the cutout, we're going to find the cross lays or speed lays. There are two located here. You'll also find an entanglement hazard warning because of those hoses coming aloft. If you'd like to remove those speed lays, this is the release mechanism, which allows you to remove those individual trays. As we move upward from this location, you'll find on the left-hand side a cutout location for your backboard storage, and then also to the right a 2.5-inch discharge. This is the release mechanism just below that to release that speed load. Let's go ahead and move from this location, and there is on the side of the vehicle, there's also some pole lights, and difficult to see in this image. Let's now move through the rest of the compartments on the body, first starting with the pump panel. We'll start at the very top in this image. If that light is illuminating, it's indicating that your pump is properly in gear. Let's move just now to the left-hand side of the image where you'll find these two placards. First, your foam system instructions, and then also the Husky 3 foam system specifications. To the right, you'll find some additional information here regarding your Hercules CAFs. This is a warning placard. Just down from that, you'll find your hydraulic oil temperature sensor. It is automatic, will sense those temperatures and illuminate for you. To the right, you have a foam A tank. This is the level indicating the amount in that foam tank. To the right in the gray area module, this is your master intake. To the right of that, you'll find your test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. Those are for testing purposes. And then to the right, you'll find a master discharge. All the way to the right-hand side, you'll find your PCM fault indicator. There's illuminating light above if it's indicating, and also an audible alarm. That audible alarm outer edge bezel does have the ability to dampen that sound. Let's move down next to the discharges. It's the next section down. You'll find that they're color-coded and labeled. Moving just to the right-hand side, you'll find your CAFs system. There is an information here that CAFs PTO must be engaged for CAFs to operate. We do have an on and off switch, an auto a manual or auto switch. To the right, you'll find a air pressure gauge, and to the right, you'll find your airflow. This is for the CAF system once again. And then to the right, just at the lower section, you'll find a high temp oil indicator, and then also a indicating readout for the oil temperature. Let's move just to the right to your Pierce pressure throttle governor. Starting in the upper left-hand corner, if illuminated, it would be yellow. That is a check engine light. Located in the center is a digital readout for the RPMs or tachometer. Just to the right, you'll find, if illuminated, a red stop engine light. Difficult to see in this because of the protective cover, but just beneath that, you'll find all of your diagnostic engine information. Moving down in the blue module here, you'll find a water tank level indicator. Moving just to the right, you'll find a red silence button that will silence any audible alarms that may be displaying. Just down from that, you'll find a menu button allowing you to scroll through the various menu functions of your pressure throttle governor. There are two options here for the mode, either pressure mode or throttle mode. Those are the two options you have. This is how you would gain through that access to scroll through either one of those. Located in the center, you'll find a green indicator indicating OK to pump, and then also a preset button allow you to preset any pressures or throttle. Down the lower section, you'll find right to increase, left to decrease, push in the center for idle. There are two electronic inlets, drivers and passenger side. Also down, you'll find your switches to engage your CAF system valves. They are located across just underneath the discharges. To the right, this is your Husky foam system. This is the red module. There are instructions on it how to operate. And then to the right, you'll find a flow minder indicating the amount of GPM. Moving down to the left, you'll find your tank refill and recirculating line. To the right, you'll find an open and close for the tank to pump. And then further down, you'll find a direct tank fill. Moving to the right, you'll find your deluge discharge. That's the discharge on top of the truck master stream device. And then to the right, we have two electronic valves controlling the large diameter passenger side discharge and the number 3 discharge. Moving to the right, you'll find your fire pump primer with an indication here to prime with about 1,000 RPMs. To the right, you'll find a driver's rear discharge and passenger rear discharge. You'll also find the direct tank fill now indicating on the upper corner. Just below here, you'll find all of your associated and color-coded discharge drains. As we move to the left-hand side, this is the control module for your master stream device. This is the monitoring station for that. Below that, we have some switches. One, red air horn, driver side scene lights, passenger side scene lights, driver side scene lights, pole lights, and also for passenger and driver side. Also in the pan door, you're going to find a yellow handle inside that. That's a valve. The left-hand side on the inside of the cover is indicating its directions. You'll also find your manual pump shift override with a protected switch and a light illuminating. In the first compartment back, there are 2 SCBA mounts located here. You also have a tool compartment with 2 pull-out drawers and also a pull-out shelf on the lower section. Let's go over some of the items within this compartment, especially the items against the wall. First, this is your auto charge system. When plugged into shore power, this will activate, which will also activate your compressor maintaining brake pressure. In that compartment, you'll also find this is where we've stored your master stream device for your front bumper turret. Let's take a look through some of the compartments. Just in front of the rear axle, you'll find 2 SCBA bottle storage locations with retaining straps for safety. You'll also find the DEF 4.5 US gallon tank. It's the blue cap. Just beneath that, you'll find a mid-turn indicator clearance light. Let's move to the center section where you'll find an LED emergency warning light, 2 SCBA bottle storage locations, and the compartment that was just closed and now open is your silver ultra low sulfur diesel fill location. As we move upward, you'll find a D handle which allows you to gain access to the tool board. Once that tool board is open, the hinge side on the inside of this is where you'll find the release mechanism to restore it back to closed position. We do have some additional text here. As we move just down from this location underneath, you'll find your wheel chock. This is a folding wheel chock. The lever is the release for that. You'll also find a receiving point for an electric winch or any additional electric options. And then you'll also find your 12-volt access point. Let's move now to the compartment with the compartment door open. You'll find 2 roll-out trays. The release mechanisms are on the right, and then 2 adjustable shelves. We also have LED lighting inside the compartment. As you can see, it's red in color. As we move to the rear of the apparatus, you'll find your brake, turn, and reverse light. You'll also find a few items here. We do have a cup switch here for scene lights, license plate, and then also emergency warning lights, upper and lower section. We have 3 locations here for pan doors. We'll talk about those in just a moment once they're in the open position to give you a little bit understanding of what's in them. But let's first start with the 2 discharges, passenger side and driver side discharge, 2.5 gated down to 1.5 inches. You also have a rear facing backup or reverse camera. And then at the very top, you'll find your traffic advisor. Let's move back down to the lower section. Underneath, you'll find 2 lights underneath for perimeter scene lights and backup lights. And in the center, you'll find an additional receiver here and tow bar. Let's move from this location to the very center of your department logo. As we move now with the compartment door open, this is going to be your hydraulic system. You can see they're color coded. There is a yellow and also a black line indicating the reference for the reel, rewind, and also for firefighter use of operations. I've got a close-up of this image here to kind of help a little bit understand that. You can see once again yellow for the yellow line and black for the black line. There is the pressure or returns just above that. Let's go ahead and move from this location up to the first pan door, 24-foot extension ladder and a 14-foot roof ladder are stored within this compartment. I'd also like to point out this pressure warning hazard, because of those 2 discharges back here. Be cautious when opening caps, they may be under pressure. At the very top section, you'll find your hose tray for your suction hoses. Just beneath that, you'll find a 10-foot folding ladder, and then also a long tool storage. As we move over to the passenger side, same location, we have an additional storage location here. Let's go ahead and go now on top of the vehicle, where we'll find on driver and passenger side, we have additional compartments on the very top, dry deck material inside, and also LED lighting. Let's move to the dunnage area, which is the center section of your apparatus. This is where you're going to find the fill location for your foam tank A. It also has a warning indication here for foam failure. We also have a top fill location for your water, and then this on the very far right is your hydraulic system, your TNT rescue tools. Let's move forward in the dunnage area again. This is your Harrison generator hydraulic reservoir oil location, fill top on the top and a vent cap, and also a sight gauge on the lower section. As we move from this just to the right, this is your exhaust, extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures, and that pipe may be hot, be cautious. As we move forward, this is your generator system. This is your hydraulic generator. There is an oil fill location also within that area for itself. This is your master stream device. It's controlled from either top or bottom section. And looking forward to the cab, we have these do not walk in this area. This is a non-walking surface. You can identify the walking surface here with these yellow diamonds for firefighter safety. As we look to the side of the apparatus, we'll move through some of the items within this area. Compartment layout might be slightly different, although the configurations are very close. There's also 12-volt access and also receiving hitch on this side. Just up from this location in this compartment, we have a tool tray that pulls out and also an upper tool tray that does also pull out and tilt downward. Moving forward to this location, we have SCBA bottle storage location here. This is to the rear of the axle. In the center compartment area, we have a tool board, D handle to gain access, release mechanism when it's in the open position on the right-hand side of the hinges. Just in front of the rear axle, you'll find SCBA bottle storage location, additionally with a safety strap. And then as we move to the next forward compartment, you'll find 3 pull-out shelves in this location. The top one does allow you to pull out and drop downward for ease of access. As we move now to the notched area for the pump panel, you'll find in the upper left-hand corner, this is your 2.5-inch strainer. Moving across the Pierce logo, American flag eagle, large diameter pump intake. We'll go over some of the items as I have some close-ups. This is once again a pressure hazard warning. This is a 2.5-inch discharge. This is the electronic valve operated from the pump panel. Because it being electric, there is an electric override, so you can manually turn on or off. Same thing with your large diameter discharge. The lower section has the override location. Across the very bottom, we have all of your color-coded and labeled discharge drains. This is a close-up here of the water strainer. Moving to the right, we're going to find your air supply and also an air inlet for tools. And you can see in the upper left your passenger main inlet override. As we move to the very bottom, you'll find your manifold drain and water strainer drain, and then also your shower head outlet. Just a quick view of the side of the apparatus. We'll go inside here in the next few moments, but before we do that, just want to point out a couple of department logos. As we move inside to the panel of each door, you'll find these warning labels affixed to the door panel. You'll also find in the rear section these red grab handles allowing firefighters ease for getting in and out of the cab. As we move inside, you'll find 2 forward-facing fold-up seats. In the center, you'll find an EMS compartment or storage compartment. Overhead of the rear location, you'll find 2 storage locations overhead of the rear-facing seats. Moving to the center location, we're going to find 4 light boxes. In the very rear section, you'll find this is the access location for checking all of your daily fluids. And then at the very bottom, you'll find 12-volt access via barrel style and USB. The 2 rear-facing seats are currently housing compartment space. And this is a close-up of the 12-volt access points. So just to clarify, there are 2 forward-facing seats. Let's go ahead and move from this location. These are your oil fill and also checks. Let's go ahead and move just to the forward section. You have two lights charging systems here. And then as we move over to the rear wall, you'll find your SETCOM wireless headset system. Those are the locations for them. This is the compartment on the inside, adjustable shelving and LED lighting. As we move overhead, these are the passenger and driver's side, just over those EMS compartments or side compartments. This is the access panel from the exterior to get into those compartments. As we move to the front officer's location, once again affixed to the door panel, you'll find all of your warning labels. This vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system, an airbag. There is a warning label here not to mount any items within this area. You'll also find a grab handle and glove box. Located in the center at the very top, you're going to find a red flashing LED light indicating you have a compartment or door ajar and do not move your apparatus. These are the two controls that control the go lights, which are the spotlights on the top of the vehicle, one on the right and one on the left-hand side. We'll go ahead and identify a few more of these items within the cab area. First, within reach of the officer, you'll find an air horn push button. Also within reach of the officer, you'll find two barrel-style chargers and also a USB charger. As we move just forward of this location in the same area, you'll find these warning labels like candy cane. These are indicating that there are certain particular wires behind that, and that's the labeling system. You'll also find your vehicle data recorder. Just a quick image from the front section looking toward the back compartment and the two fold-down seats on the rear wall. Let's now move to the driver's area where you'll find affixed to those door panels warning labels. You'll also find seatbelt warning labels here, which your seatbelts are red in color for ease of visible identifying if someone has them on. And then I'd like to direct you down to the lower right ankle. We have some warning labels, and particularly the yellow placard, which we'll cover next. At the left knee, you're going to find some plugins here for your tech module, engine, transmission, ABS, and DisplayPort. You'll also find ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, and also regen inhibit switches. Moving back over to about the right ankle of the operator, you'll find this placard, manufactured from Pierce for Boardman Rural Fire Protection District. It has the date of manufacture, the job number. It also has gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, VIN number, and all of its fluid capacities for the component and fluid type. Let's move up from this location. On the left-hand side of the steering column, you'll find your ignition switch and start, and also a hazard light switch. These are your four-way flashers. Moving just inside of that location near the column, you'll find a small switch labeled EM. That stands for Emergency Master. It will engage all of your emergency lights and disengage. To the right of that, you'll find your headlights and also running lights. And to the right, you'll find a panel switch indicating the brightness and dimness of the panel lights. You'll also find the ability to tilt the steering wheel and then also turn left and right instructions and headlight flash on the left-hand side of the column. As we look to the dash, you'll find your transmission oil, DEF level, and water temp. On the right, you're going to find volts, fuel, front and rear air. In the center, you'll find your tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information displays above and below the speedometer. As we move to the right, you'll find a high idle engage and also an indicator it's okay to engage the high idle. To the right of the operator, you'll find your pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. It is the yellow diamond. On the right, you'll find your Pierce command zone. Tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. See your owner's manual for more information. To the right, you'll find your Allison transmission. As we look overhead, you'll find push on and off white and red lights depending on what lens you choose to push on. As we look overhead of the operator's seat, you'll find a few switches: emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning. The next section down houses the lower rear warning, upper rear warning, high beam flash, and an air horn switch. When those lights, or switches I should say, have been pushed, the outer edge will illuminate, indicating that it's on. Moving to the right, you'll find your front flood master, wide flood, narrow flood, spot flood. That's for that brow light. And then also driver's side scene, passenger side scene, and then the two individual controls for the pole lights. As we move just to the right, you'll find your electronic siren and also PA speaker. Moving just to the right, you'll find the control module for your traffic advisor, then also your seatbelt information. Red indicating that someone is in the seat and not belted. Green that they are in the seat and belted. To the right, you'll find your AM/FM stereo. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other operating switches in the lower panels. First, starting with the rear scene, on/off radio, backstop device, CAF's tool or PTO switch, tool on and off, fog lights, and also a load manager switch. Switches down below, you're going to find engine brake on and off switch, a settings for that engine brake for low, medium, and high, off-road traction, a mirror heat, a future switch if necessary, and then also your bumper turret air. Let's move just to the right of this location, another set of switches. You'll find an indicator indicating stationary okay to pump and roll. That's an indicator switch. To the right, you'll find your water pump switch and also your foam system switch and also a CAFS switch. There's also a pump and roll and open TTP valve closed. You'll also find a digital readout for your pressure, for your pump pressure. You'll also find indications here for your water tank and also for your foam tank. On top of that, you'll find controls for your mirrors. As we move now to the forward section, you'll find climate control for heating and air conditioning and defrost. And then as we move just overhead, point out this light, if flashing, is a do not move your apparatus. You may have a compartment door open or ajar. Congratulations, Boardman, Oregon, on your new Pierce Fire apparatus. If you have any questions, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.